So today, folks, on today's video, we have Scott of Fusion Cleaning joining us. He's going to be telling us all about his journey, starting, growing, scaling his carpet cleaning business, a story about how he came to work with us and how he's taken his carpet cleaning business to the next level. I'm super excited to have him on the show. If you've never heard of me before, my name's John Williams. I run a company called AGB. We specialize in one thing only, getting guys like you booked out with jobs with our specialist system. If you'd like to find out a little bit more about working with us, stick around to the end of the call where you'll get all the necessary info. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Scott, Fusion Cleaning, welcome.
Hey, thanks a lot, John. Appreciate you having me.
No worries at all. So let's get straight into it. Can you tell us what year you started your carpet cleaning business, the circumstances leading up to it, what you were doing before you started your business, and what made you decide to start up a carpet cleaning business? Effectively, can you tell us the story of what, when, why, and how you started in the carpet cleaning game?
Sure. So I started in 2014, and at the time I owned a UPS store.
Okay, wow.
And, was doing that for a little over a year and realized that I kind of needed to make a change. And I had just gotten into it. So I had to decide, what am I going to do?
What were you doing before, Scott, before the UPS?
Well, I'm a bit of an entrepreneur. I've had a number of different ventures. So
Cool.
I drove semi-truck for a while, owned a semi-truck and a box truck, delivered a lot of furniture, etc. Been in other retail situations where customer service was big. Either it was my endeavor or I was helping somebody else out. I was in ministry for a while. So all kinds of things led up to my experience. I had a lot of experience working with people. Like in this space of carpet cleaning, I mean, let's be honest, I've met a lot of great guys, but there's a lot of guys that are lacking integrity, right? And so it was a challenge to even find someone who would come, call back, etc. So being kind of an entrepreneur, I felt like, this is a space maybe I could excel and just give them really good customer service has been my background to maybe a space that really is lacking and we would stand out. That's where that kind of came from. I was at the UPS store for a while and decided to get it managed. So I hired a manager, kind of worked through that. I realized I didn't want to spend every day there. It worked out okay for me, but it wasn't the best fit, quite honestly. So had that managed, and then I went into the carpet cleaning and I actually bought an existing company that was very small. And it was a way for me to at least have some customers, right? And to kind of get the ball rolling. So that's what I did back in 2014. And I realized pretty quickly that it was going to be a challenge to have both those businesses. And I knew that was a risk, but the pull to get back to the store was so great all the time. And I couldn't devote the time necessary to really grow the cleaning business. So unfortunately, it was just an organic growth. People would tell their friends and I would do the cleaning. I had someone helping me, but it was very small, very side job-ish. And that's what happened the first few years.
Some really good bits in here. So first of all, if you don't mind me asking, how much did it cost you to purchase this company?
It was probably, I'm trying to remember, about $100K actually.
Oh, wow, that's quite a lot of money actually. Wow.
It is. And I had to borrow some, and it was a pretty big investment. And I actually ran into some things. So I had some health issues, like 2 to 3 years in. I had a liver transplant, actually.
Wow.
And so I had really been struggling with a disease diagnosed many years before then, and my bile ducts were closing off. And so it wasn't allowing my liver to function properly and flush. So eventually over the years, it kind of got backed up and I was getting infections so bad they couldn't treat me and they were having a hard time. These infections would go septic and it would get in my bloodstream. And like literally they were telling me we're running out of antibiotics for you. And it got really bad. And so you can imagine a lot of people listening, I know, like owning your own business and being like the man, like that's a problem. Like if you can't do the work, and pay the bills, that's a huge problem. So
absolutely.
So it was a very, very difficult time. I got an exemption or special status because of the situation. I was able to kind of get bumped up the list because of how critical I was. And I spent about every other month I was in the hospital dealing with something. So it was really hard to run a business. My son, who was 18 at the time, I had to grow up pretty fast. And he was actually actually running a truck for me. And then I had another guy part-time just trying to take phone calls, and it was hard. Like I probably lost 60% of the business,
Wow.
And I told you what I paid for it. Like the business was doing okay, like it was not some small little thing. Like they had two guys running and it was growing, but man, I crashed it. I did. But it was all about survival at that point, honestly. I mean, the money was stressful, but I was all about living, of course.
Absolutely. And how are you now? Like, are you 100% recovered or?
Very good. Yeah, I'm awesome. I'm feeling really good. Got a clean bill of health. Ever since I had the transplant, it took a couple months to get it all regulated. But new lease on life. Don't take days for granted, even on the worst days when a customer's screaming at you. Hey, at least I'm healthy. I can go to bed, with my wife at night and feel good. So it gives a good perspective on life.
Wow. That's amazing, first of all. And just to go back to like that purchase, I guess for the 100K, was it one truck or multiple trucks? And did it come with a truck mount or were you using like a portable in the beginning?
Yeah, there were two truck mounts that were in really pretty good shape and newer vehicles. And it came with two employees who agreed to stay on. So yeah, my whole idea was to kind of jump in and have some momentum and build it. That was prior to the health issues that caused problems. But it was an investment, but it was a rolling business.
So I guess like you were never on the truck yourself, right? At all?
No, I actually was on the truck a little bit. I would help out a little bit, but then with the health issues, I didn't do anything for a little while. But then as always, right, you had employees that move on, and then I had to kind of jump back in the truck and actually do a lot of the work for a few years after that, because I was still juggling this other business of mine.
The reason why I'm asking all of this, where I'm leading with this is I guess, did you do any training to learn how to clean carpets, to operate a truck mount? Surely the learning curve from buying the business for 100K, cool. If you've got a couple of technicians, they already know how to run everything and you're just kind of managing it. But I anticipate the learning curve of actually doing the service will be pretty steep. Do you want to talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, so I was very fortunate. One of my employees had been doing it for quite a while, and his father owned a carpet cleaning business in another state. And so in his teenage years, high school years, he did a lot of work, and he moved across the country to Colorado. And it was a huge asset to me because he really gave me the breakdown, and he had a very good business mind. So he was very helpful. I did take the ICRC training, I got licensed, if you will. So I had that training, but I had the practical everyday training with him for the first few months. So while it maybe wasn't cleaning carpet all the time, I had a really good understanding of what to do.
Awesome. And then just to touch on the UPS business, do you still have that? Did that close down eventually? What's the story there?
I sold it actually last November.
And as it stands right now, Fusion Cleaning, that's the only business that you've got, or you've got other endeavors as well at the moment?
I don't. And so here's kind of the story and why it makes sense. Once I finally got rid of some of the other things, I focused solely on this. I got hooked up with you guys and I just absolutely exploded because I finally had time and effort to devote to one thing and be focused.
Absolutely. So we've talked about here a little bit about the background of you starting up and all of that, and the fact that you had this UPS business. You've got a history in entrepreneurship, which is really, really cool, really awesome. You had this opportunity. You bought this carpet cleaning business, 100K, came with a couple of technicians on the job. You learned with them. How long was that period of time from buying it to like you being sort of like, well, the years of struggle, how many years were there from when you purchased it?
It was about 2 years of getting to know the business. And I felt like I was really getting a little bit of traction, understanding everything. And that's when I had my health issue. So it was really choppy, like the second into third year. And the third year was really challenging. That third summer was really, really bad because that's when everything happened. But it took me, I was back into the business about a month and a half after, maybe 2 months after recovering a little bit. And then I slowly built it again from there. And like I said, I kind of jumped back out of the truck and had to do some things differently. So I would say, honestly, it was about 4 years until I really felt like I was moving again, kind of building on the original, if you will. So it took some time, but that was the time frame. And then when I finally really started to gain momentum, dropped the other store, that's when I found you guys. And like I said, it just really took off.
So you bought the business in 2014. The first 4 years were really choppy, ups and downs, learning the business, plus you had your health issues. So really it was 2018 before things sort of settled down. Would that be about right?
I would say so. Yeah.
And I think you probably signed up with us in what, 2020, 2021, would you say, something like that?
Yeah, it was the fall of 21.
Okay, cool. So between 2018 and 2021 fall, so we've got 3 years there really before we started working together. Tell me a little bit more about that period. So this period in your business journey, you've overcome your health issues, you're back in the game. And so what were those next 3 years like prior to working with us?
I think they were good, but well, I had some new employees come on. And so I was trying to gain some traction there. I was learning about marketing and sales and how do I get systems put in place, to really start to build a foundation here. Because up until that point, I felt like I was just, treading water and losing ground. And so I'm trying to make it up again. And when I think of what the business was doing when I bought it, and then I looked at my bottom line after all these, health issues, I'm like, what in the world did I do? Like I was in big trouble. And I knew like I had to build again and kind of start over, quite honestly. So I started getting coaching, and I was like, I'm going to take this seriously. I'm going to invest in it. And it was something I really didn't have the funds to do, honestly, but I wanted to kind of get a bigger, wider perspective. So I had some business experience. Actually, my father grew up with he actually owned an electrical plumbing business.
Wow.
Very successful, multi-million-dollar situation. So I was exposed to it. I wasn't afraid of it. I thought big. I knew I could do things like this. I just felt like there were so many things kind of in my way that it finally was clearing out. And I was ready to start to go after it. So to answer your question, for those 2.5 to 3 years, I was gaining some traction. The business was definitely growing. I was learning a lot. I was trying to figure out how to systematize it a little bit and kind of get myself back off the truck again.
Awesome. And during that period of time, prior to working with us, what were you doing to like prospect for customers? What were you doing to generate business in terms of advertising, marketing? Was it word of mouth? Was it referrals? Were you doing any kind of paid advertising at all? What did that look like? Do you want to just touch on that a little bit?
Of course, yeah. It was mostly referral based. I did definitely do a little bit of postcards that I sent out, mostly referral. I had a referral program in place where I gave my customers a discount if they referred somebody. And, it's a pretty inexpensive way to try and get people. I don't want to speak for other people, but very similar, I think, to people in my situation, like afraid to spend money to make money, quite honestly. And so one of the things I had to learn was like, you have to find what marketing channel works for you. And then when you find something that works, like, then you got to go all in, and just like multiply and duplicate. And I wasn't quite there. I was testing some things and I was afraid to spend money. So our growth was, pretty limited, didn't really move the needle beyond just like feeling good that, we were above last year,
Yeah, absolutely.
That's kind of where I was at that time.
Awesome. So basically, let's just summarize. So it's 2018, you come off the back end there of your illness. It's kind of like starting over again, but that's okay. Get some coaching, figuring it all out, systematizing everything, putting your foot in the water with a little bit of marketing and this and that, but a little bit afraid of spending money and stuff, which is one of the common things that we see in the entrepreneurial world. And certainly us as a company, we see all the time. Do you know what I mean? People that just have that like sort of innate fear or have that lack of understanding that you have to invest not only in yourself but in your business. And if you don't do that, then you're not going to take that next step, and it does require an investment. And so you kind of got to grips with that, which is something that so many people struggle with. Like, we see it all the time here at HEB with all the different carpet cleaners into every day. So you got to grips with that. Awesome stuff. So let's fast forward now. It's fall 2021. Let's just touch on your experience of signing up with us and what that's been like and the impact that that's had on your business and your life.
So yeah, beginning of November 2021 is when I signed up. I was looking to do something digitally because I tried EDDM and I tried a few other channels, limited response. Like, I don't know how much you want to go into different marketing channels, but for me, I realized pretty quickly, like postcards and things like that, they can be effective, but it's a long game. Like, you got to invest a lot of money over a long period of time to get results from that. I decided, I want to be where the eyeballs are, basically. And that's Facebook, at least right now. Of course, you have TikTok and Instagram, there are other channels, digital marketing, but I knew that was a way to get some impact locally where I not only can control who is kind of seeing it, but I could also get a lot of people, because that's where they're at. So I so I did my research. I found you guys. I thought, I'll give it a shot. And I called up and kind of went through the program, and I saw kind of you had this auto bot, responder. And I just it was kind of all new new to me. So quite honestly, John, I did some other research and, I'm in this to play the game, right? And so I want to try and get the right thing. And I looked at other options and I really liked your platform. And there's a few reasons why. And I'm going to get to the results in a moment. But what I really liked was people who are on Facebook kind of want to stay there or go to Messenger. Right? They want to stay on the platform they are. And so some other people, what they do is, they fill out a form and they send it off. That's okay. But the customer thinks, is someone going to respond to me? How long is this going to take? Now it's an unknown in their mind, right? It makes them uncomfortable because what they've done is for weeks, they've been watching your ads and they're like, okay, I'm going to do it like right now. And then they hit a few buttons. They're like, oh, you mean I don't get a response? And so I think in the world of marketing, like you got to respond, you got to be there. You promise some type of response. And if you can do it in Messenger, do it right away like you guys have with the chat was tremendous. And so props to you guys. So what I do is I respond quickly. It's all about the customer service, and it folds in nicely with what I want to do. Like they're getting some type of response. If they don't get a price, at least they're getting conversation from me. It's been really, really good that way. And I've noticed 140% growth between 2021 and 2022.
That's amazing.
And that's business wide. But I would say probably at least 60% of that is due to what you guys have done, through the Facebook ads. And so it's a big, big chunk of it. And so the thing was, I was getting new customers. And if you're going to move the needle like more than doubling, 1.5 times, you have to have so many new customers. You can't just say, I hope they come back to me this year. And I'm serious about growth. Not everybody is. And I get that. But if you're serious about growth and you want to take monumental steps, you have to do things that you haven't done before.
Absolutely.
So this was a way for me to say, hey, I know in my mind it's a lot of money, but let's do this. And I was ready on the other end. I was up to the challenge and I took on all these new people. And so it just exploded. It just really did. And I am in a metro area, which helps. But so many people have responded. Like there were times I couldn't keep up. Like I just was like, constantly getting back to people, but it's part of the game and it's what I was willing to do. And I saw tremendous results. We had to buy another truck this spring and I had another employee.
Wow.
So, it's going very, very well. And I attribute a lot of it to what you guys have done.
That's amazing. And it's been incredible to be part of your journey. And for me, and in particular, and for the team as well, definitely fills me with such a great sense of achievement to know that something that we created, this thing that we made, has had such an impact on someone's life and someone's business. It gives me such a great feeling of achievement to know that we've been able to do that, and so it's amazing to hear. This is why I do these interviews, because it's just great to hear everybody's story. It's great to be able to share people's stories as well, because I know that other people will find it inspiring. The fact that you've had to overcome tremendous challenges with your health and stuff, and you just didn't give up, to have such an amazing tenacity and to just that persistence is amazing. And you should really be proud of yourself, Scott, for still being here today, man. And not only being here today, being an absolutely huge success, regardless of whether it's through us or otherwise. So huge kudos to you. If anyone's got any questions or comments on this, or if they want to reach out to Scott, you can just drop a comment underneath the video. And if you'd like to find out a little bit more about working with us, head down to the description below where you'll find the necessary links to book a call with us. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button so that you get notified when the next video comes out. I'll see you on the next one, guys.